And we are back with the GSMC podcast, the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast on the GSMC Sports Network. Hope you guys, tuning into the show. 1,010% if you're wrestling fans, you're gonna love this show. You're gonna love this show. 1,010%. Obviously, appreciate you guys coming out here daily to check out the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Just kind of reiterate what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE SmackDown review. WWE Monday Night Raw preview, and we're gonna jump on into MVP debuting on AEW Dynamite. It's pretty intense. I saw it as a surprise, kind of had that shock factor inside it, but it's not like I anticipated MVP or Bobby Lashley or this Hurt Syndicate to kind of wind up anywhere but on the promotion from Tony Khan. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk into that. But before we do anything like that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, but most importantly, just give me some feedback. Give me some awesome feedback. Get something off your chest. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Obviously, all these super chats is going to help us keep the lights on in terms of producing more, awesome sports, digital video media, whatever you guys like to call it, content coming to you guys 1,010%. So, we want to be on the air. Obviously that's, something that, if you're a sports network, that's kind of your purpose. We give you guys awesome sports content. You guys support us, kind of like a beneficial relationship. It's nice back and forth, and we love our audience. We love our audience. Obviously, we have our chats. Every single chat you guys hit is going to be, it's going to be engaged. It's going to be engaged. We're going to talk about it. Much like, you probably won't see that on ESPN or Fox Sports or any other major, on any other live podcast. And I'm not, trying to down or I'm not trying to throw shade or anything like that. But I don't know. I feel like, under the GSMC Sports Network, we care about you guys a lot a bit more. I'm just kidding. Well, not just kidding because, we care about you guys a lot. Obviously, we care about all the audience and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going to go down with MVP joining AEW. Can't wait to talk about it. It's going to be dope. So, all right, without further ado, we're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about MVP debuting in AEW. All right, so on Wednesday's Dynamite Grand Slam, you saw MVP debut for the first time. Obviously, a lot of people, like I said, speculation. They're on the business card. It says the Hurt Syndicate, and although you haven't really seen any sign of Bobby Lashley on AEW, it just or Shelton Benjamin being signed by AEW, but ultimately. Why would Tony Khan sign MVP if it wasn't for him to be an advocate for Bobby Lashley or an advocate for Cedric Alexander? He's kind of tied with WWE contract statuses right now. I think he has like a year, maybe a little less left on his contract, so I don't think he's going to be here on his Hurt Syndicate anytime soon. But Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin are still kind of up in the air on the AEW roster. There's still superstars that can definitely 1,010% help this new Hurt Syndicate, and I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. On the Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross, the announcer for AEW, obviously WWE legend Jim Ross, good old JR. Basically spoke about the topic. He said, and I quote, Bobby Lashley is a complex but talented human being. He overthinks because he's smart. He's smart. He gets the wrestling. He basically saying he gets the wrestling, kind of business. AEW could definitely definitely use Bobby Lashley. Obviously, that's no really any big surprise. But I feel like this was a good decision by Tony Khan. Provided that this includes Bobby Lashley. If it doesn't, I don't like it, and I feel like Bobby Lashley has that main event kind of mentality to him. WWE definitely dropped the ball within Bobby Lashley. Every single time he came back to WWE, bad bookings, bad promos. You have him making out with Lana in front of Rusev, being the home wrecker or whatever. not good. And then he had to come back and just once again being a WWE champion, losing a match against Roman Reigns, kind of having kind of winning Brock Lesnar by disqualification, having a Hurt Business probably as one of your most dominant factions in WWE before the Bloodline was even created. And then all of a sudden, WWE creative was like, you know what, we're gonna take the focus off of you guys 1,010%. Bobby Lashley was WWE champion. Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander were tag team champions. And then they just bailed. They're just like, you know what? We're sorry, we're off this. We're off it. I'm sorry. We're not gonna do it anymore. So then Bobby Lashley was kind of forced to make a decision that I feel like he didn't want to do. I feel like ultimately he wanted to continue with WWE. That's the reason why he came back after a successful TNA run because he just fits on WWE. For me, when I think of WWE, you see Bobby Lashley and you're like, damn, he's like that Brock Lesnar status. And that's something that he could bring to AEW 1,010% under Montel Montanius Porter being his advocate. You kind of have this Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar version going to AEW. And, I've heard a lot of scrutiny online that a lot of people do not want to see Bobby Lashley hold that AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But I got to be honest, I disagree. I disagree 1,010%. I feel like it would be best for the company to kind of have someone big, kind of have someone strong, kind of have someone dominant hold that AEW World Heavyweight Championship. You've had reigns like Hangman Adam Page, Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland. Then you had Bryan Danielson, but AEW their title runs, I feel like they end kind of at a perfect point. As opposed to WWE, where I feel like the Intercontinental Championship is kind of being passed around a lot. But I can imagine how other wrestling fans would kind of debate or disagree with that fact because the best thing about professional wrestling is just kind of having titles kind of go back and forth. And I don't even, there might be a slight chance that, under their partnership with TKO Holdings, obviously at every UFC fight night, you see the titles being defended. And then that's huge. That's huge, 1,010%. That's maybe a direction the WWE needs to get to. Pay-per-views are now, you have 4 or 5 matches when you have, 8 to 10 titles. It just doesn't make sense. UFC Fight Night, everybody knows, they buy that pay-per-view, main card. They spend that money to watch these fights, watch these amazing, aggressive, dominant athletes inside the octagon. I think 1,010% that WWE should kind of adapt that. Like, you know what I mean? I get that under the Triple H Paul Levesque era, you want that quality, you want that, quality over quantity. Like, look, I get it. But, as a wrestling fan, like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's, once again, something that Triple H has, he needs to work on. I feel like ever since he kind of took over as the CEO, or the CCO, I'm not too sure. Um, you've kind of had wrestling matches mean more. You've had wrestling matches without interference, without BS. None of that shiitake mushrooms happening inside the squared circle. You kind of have these guys actually go out there and show the world their physical abilities, their attributes, what makes them special, the reason why they're chosen to be on main television. On the USA Network, Fox, Peacock, wherever. WWE's broadcasted over, 180 countries. Crazy, but that's just something that, that Triple H Palovek is going to fix. I feel like he's going to, but I don't know. I just feel like a pay-per-view should consist of all the title defenses. But, going back to Montel Montanius Porter being, debuting in AEW, obviously he blamed a lot of, what has happened to Swerve Strickland, the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He blamed a lot of what, Prince Nana, kind of showing that he wants Swerve Strickland to be part of this new Hurt Syndicate. And I feel like it's perfect. I feel like it would be an amazing storyline for Swerve. Obviously, Swerve Strickland in every aspect of what happens in AEW, the reason why he gets screwed over, obviously by his former dudes, the Mogul Embassy. He's always outmanned. He's always outmanned. He needs that backbone. But the fact that Swerve might outshine Bobby Lashley could possibly be a reason why AEW's Tony Khan might not pull the trigger on this. But ultimately, I feel like that'd be great. Swerve, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and then you have the MVP come out speaking for Swerve. It kind of seems like it makes sense, and I feel like definitely that's something that AEW could possibly have, and I feel like it's gonna be great. Like once again, Brock Lesnar figuring AEW MVP, definitely playing that Paul Heyman role. WWE whiffing on Ricochet, and now obviously making the same mistake, whiffing on Bobby Lashley, not signing him. The Hurt Syndicate should have, they could acquire, or they should acquire, Powerhouse Hobbs as well. Scorpio Sky, maybe possibly, the reigning, defending forever undisputed FTW championship. The championship was, retired on AEW Dynamite. Maybe Hook joins the Hurt Syndicate. Maybe Ricochet. A lot of possibilities. A lot of possibilities that could be happening. Basically, seeking business with what's is going on with AEW right now. Like I said, Cedric Alexander locked down by WWE. They could possibly be, the people that take down the elite. Could happen. Maybe the Shane Taylor Productions as well, the Don Callis family, the Blackpool Combat Club. There's just something that has made AEW definitely prominent in terms of every wrestling promotion. And I'm sure they were influenced by New Japan Professional Wrestling when they made the decision to kind of have a trios championship. Having three guys, on a team or a stable, it pays dividends. You know what I mean? It matters. This is something that WWE, probably should have kind of adopted, should have, a long time ago. But, now that you have those trios championship out there, maybe Bobby Lashley, doesn't kind of make it to the big stage or the grandest stage of them all, so to speak, and become AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Maybe he kind of, baby steps. They dethrone, Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, and the Von Erichs or whatever. It's a possibility, and but then again, I feel like whatever booking Bobby Lashley is a part of, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great for the promotion. It's gonna be great for all the superstars getting involved. All right, guys. So AEW has basically broadcasted the idea that MVP is going to bring Bobby Lashley to the promotion, but only time will tell. All right, guys, and we're going to jump on into our fourth segment. We got Netflix's Mr. McMahon episode 1 discussion. Going to talk about it. A lot of cool stuff. Just kind of break down. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about like 25 seconds.